Hey guys, and welcome to week 1 of the Powherful 8-week challenge. So this first lesson is all about setting our goals. This is super important to start off the challenge to make sure we have clarity on what direction we're going in and what we're wanting to achieve. Now, first up, make sure that you've gone through the introductory content on our habits of move, mind, and munch. These are the powerful pillars that make up the program, and it's going to be really important when you're setting your goals that you actually know what habits we work on. So the introductory content will be linked below, so make sure you've gone and head through to that. Now, when it comes to setting our goals, we need to understand the powerful system that I use. So you may have seen this already from the introductory content, but this is how we move through and achieve our goals and make progress over time. You need a system and a structure to stick to, otherwise it's very easy to fall off the wagon, for lack of a better term, and to lose motivation over time. So if you have a look at the screen, in a 4-week block, what we work on in Powherful is number 1, goal setting, which we're doing today. So setting your goals and making a solid, clear plan that you know you can follow, that is still pushing your comfort zone, but it's not going to overwhelm you. Then throughout the actual 4 weeks of work, you need to schedule your plan every week and then act upon your habits, because action is where the actual results come from. There's no point in doing any of this if you're not actually doing the work. Then at the end of the 4 weeks, we always do a big reflection to look back on your progress and see what went well, what challenged you, and what lessons you're learning. This makes sure that you continue to move forward and you don't recycle old habits, old patterns, and keep falling back into old ways. So this little cycle is what we focus on. And at the end of 4 weeks, we're going to come back and do another goal set, either just clarifying the plan you already have, or if you've achieved awesome goals, then you might want to change your direction. So this is the basis of today. Now, let's go through each of these. I've broken it down into the goal and plan section, which, if you go back, is the first bit. So in goal setting, we need to set our goals and make our plan. And I'm also going to go through the actual scheduling and act, because that's how you actually get the results. So first up, step 1, choosing your goal. So this is important because you need to know what you're wanting to focus on body composition wise. So the big part of Powherful is learning to transform your body. This doesn't just come down to what you look like. It comes down to your health, your well-being, and how strong, fit, and healthy you feel. But we do need to know how much to eat according to your goal, because the quantity you eat is going to determine how your body composition changes in general. So number 1, we want to choose a goal. You've got the choice of muscle gain. So muscle gain is really good if you want to build muscle, shape, and strength. This is fantastic if you're wanting to do that. So if you're somebody who's starting out and you need to build some shape, some definition, some size, and some strength, this is actually a great goal to go for first up. So the principle behind this is a 10% calorie surplus. Now remember, make sure you've read the introductory content, because I go through what calories are and why we need to understand them, because we need to be eating enough that our body can actually build that muscle and to get lots of extra energy to build strength. So that's why muscle gain needs to be in a 10% calorie surplus. Then our next goal is fat loss. So this is quite a common goal for a lot of women. If your goal is to reduce body fat, then fat loss is a good goal. And the principle behind this is a 20% calorie deficit in relation to your maintenance calories. And then the last goal is lifestyle. So not everything is about massive amounts of strength and muscle gain or massive amounts of fat loss. Sometimes you want to just work on the habits, your health and well-being. Lifestyle is a fantastic goal in that situation. So this is great for just building your health and your habits. Now, the principle behind this is eating at your maintenance, which is a stabilized state, like you're not putting on as much muscle or gaining, or you're not losing as much, but you're still going to see awesome results within your body over time, because anytime you're building strength, muscle, you're going to change your body composition, and as your nutrition improves over time, you'll also change your body composition. To explain this a little bit more, I've put it into a bit of a spectrum. So these goals are not mutually exclusive. It's not like if you choose maintenance that you won't also lose fat or build muscle and shape. It's just having clarity on what your major goal is and to see the most results in that area. So remember, if you choose muscle gain, you have to be a surplus. You're going to see more increase in your muscle, more increase in your strength. But you have to remember, this is a spectrum. If you eat too much, it can result in excess fat gain. So there's a bit of a, you need to understand that you can't just keep eating lots and lots and lots and see lots and lots of muscle gain. It's a balance. That's why we always focus on the 10%. And on the other side, if you're in a deficit, so if you're in fat loss, it's important to have that 20% deficit because fat loss is a little bit harder than fat or muscle gain. You want to make sure that you are eating that to create that reduction in your body fat. But if you eat too little, you're going to get what's called negative metabolic adaptation. This means that your body is going to try and down-regulate to conserve energy, which can result in some negative side effects, often to do with like your hunger levels being really high, your energy levels being low, and long-term it can cause nutritional deficiencies and also hormonal imbalances, which we really don't want. We don't want your body to get too adapted to a low calorie count, because that means if you eat more, it's going to store fat more easily as well. So it's why we need to understand that a deficit is around that 20% mark, which is sustainable to reduce body fat over time. It's not a huge deficit because that's unsustainable. And also when you're eating at maintenance, you're going to hover around the same with your body composition. And the goal of Powherful eventually is to find a state where you're happy with your current body composition and you are happy to stay at lifestyle, working on your lifestyle factors. So whether it's your habits or your strength over time, we want to eventually get to that place where you're stable and confident and happy with your body. So if that gives you a bit of an idea of the changes in body composition you can impact with the amount of food that you eat. And the reason we start with this is just so you'll have clarity on what your major body composition and transformation goal is. So step 1, we need to calculate your calorie goals based upon your goal. So choose your goal focus first up. So whether you're choosing muscle gain, fat loss, or lifestyle, then you can head to this link below. I'll also link it in the underneath this video so that you can go to this link. I just like this calculator because it's quite an accurate one to estimate your daily intake goal based upon your stats. So you need to put in different stats. Your goal intake is going to be different depending on your age, your height, your weight, your activity levels. So make sure that you do put them in all correctly, and it's going to give you an estimated goal intake. We'll approach this a little bit later when we go through the munch goals. But if you've read the introductory content, you'll know why we use calories to track your food and how you're going to track your food later on. Right, step 2. So now that you've understood what your major goal is, what you're aiming for, we need to make our plan. So this is what we actually follow each week to make sure that you're staying consistent, staying on track. So first up, let's look at our move goals. So we've got the move, mind, munch habits that we need to have our plan in. You'll know from the introductory content that we break it down into build, blitz, and bend. Now move is set for you. I want you to follow this 3 build session, 2 blitz, and 1 bend session every week as your plan, just so we're staying nice and consistent. The difference comes from the progression in your workouts. So whether your intensity improves or as your fitness and your strength builds, that's going to make the sessions harder. I wouldn't recommend more frequency than what we're currently doing because that is what I have balanced it out with, which is sustainable for most women and helps keep you healthy, happy, building strength, cardiovascular fitness, and then also flexibility. So build, we've got 3 strength sessions each week. These are going to be in your app and they're going to be structured so that you've got 1 for the start of the week, Monday, Tuesday, 1 for Wednesday, Thursday, 1 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is nice and steady so that you can split it out, give your body a bit of a rest in between, make sure you're building your muscle because strength is one of the most important foundations of your training. Blitz is a little bit more flexible. So you've got the 2 cardio sessions a week. You can do this by doing your blitz workout. So the one that's in the program, which is a high intensity interval training circuit. So we're alternating between cardio exercises with periods of work and periods of rest. But if you're somebody who does a sport, you go for runs, interval runs, you do any activities that get the heart rate pumping, like a group fitness class or anything like that, these can also count towards your blitz. So make sure you remember that and you're aware of that when you are looking over your week. If you're somebody who already has some high intensity activity going on, I don't want you to overdo it because it can increase your chances of injury and fatigue. So make sure you're giving yourself enough rest and recovery. Tick off your blitz sessions with 2 cardio sessions a week. You can do a little bit more if you're somebody who does walking or getting your steps up each day. That's fine. I'm talking more about the high intensity cardiovascular fitness sessions. And then bend, we've got at least one flexibility session. You can do more for this one if you'd like, if you need more recovery, but you can either do the bend flows that are in the program, or you can do yoga, Pilates, or if you are involved in any of those classes, then they are also suitable for your bend. So nice and simple, you're going to do 3 build, 2 blitz, 1 bend every week. Write that down in your plan as to what you're actually going to do for those sessions so that you're very clear. Now, munch is the nutrition part of your plan. So we've already figured out your daily intake that you're aiming for, so what your calorie goal is each day. This comes into your quantity habit. So we need to track your intake in one way that is clear for you. My favorite way and the most accurate way is using MyFitnessPal, which is an application that you can use on your phone that also syncs across to the app. It's the Powherful app. So that's my favorite way, is to input your calorie goal and start tracking and sync it over. That's the easiest, simplest way. It does involve a little bit of discipline on your behalf, tracking your food accurately. You can also track your food in a food diary. It's not going to be as accurate, so I do highly recommend using MyFitnessPal for the quantity portion. But you want to be tracking your food every day, if possible, for the 8 weeks. The reason I'm so adamant about this is so that you get really familiar with your food and what your surplus, maintenance, and deficit levels are. Long term, you don't need to track if you're really aware of what those levels are for you. Because although your body might change over time, those numbers won't change too much in the long term. Once you understand where your maintenance is, you can be pretty clear at that's going to keep you where you're at. If you know where your surplus is, you know that's going to be your gain phase. And if you know where your deficit is, you know that will be your fat loss phase. So that's why I highly recommend tracking on MyFitnessPal. Now, quality, this is our habits to make sure the quality of your food stays high. So this is making sure that 80% of your day is whole foods. So again, I've got a big list in the introductory guide to understanding which foods are whole foods, which are good quality, and make sure you're drinking 2 liters or more of water just to get nice and hydrated, keep the quality of your food high. And the easiest way to do this is to have your habit of preparation. So how many times a week do you need to meal prep to make sure that you've got good quality food organized, ready to go in good portions that you understand? That's pretty much the tying factor, or the habit in munch that's going to tie everything together and make it much easier and convenient for you to stick to your nutrition goals. I am personally like prepping my meals about twice a week. So do one on the weekend that lasts me through the first half of the week. So I've got meals ready to go that I know are going to fit into my day. Got snacks ready as well. And then I'll do one for the last half of the week. On the weekend, I'm a little bit more flexible and will eat food as I go. That's my personal way that I do it every single week to make sure I stay on track. But if I know what's in my food, it's going to be mostly whole foods, and then I can track it easily on MyFitnessPal. So it follows back down the line. So it just depends on where you're at. Because this is a challenge, I would highly recommend getting into understanding your quantity, getting really good quality of food, and preparing your meals. And then after the challenge, you can find if you're comfortable with your understanding your habits, you can stick with that, or you can long-term track to make sure you stay nice and accurate with your food. So that is your munch. And then mind. So mind, I would recommend choosing habits at a frequency you can manage. If you're not currently doing any habits that are to do with your mindset, I would just start with focusing on, in the self-discipline section, getting that plan in every week and make sure you're checking it daily so you're actually doing it. And then sleeping your 8 hours. They're the 2 key ones that are going to help you maintain your organization and maintain your energy throughout the week. That will be my first recommendation. But if you're ready for a little bit more of a challenge, start adding in your meditation and your recovery habit. So meditation, remember, choose a number that you feel you can stick with, even if it's just 1 time a week, focusing on a guided meditation. It's going to help a lot with your mindfulness and your self-care. And recovery, focusing on a habit that, again, will suit you, 1 time a week, might be twice, might be more, depends on how active you are doing your training. And then same with journaling. So again, if journaling is brand new, give it a try once a week and start working on the habit bit by bit, and then you might want to increase your frequency over time. But remember, this is your plan. Choose what you can stick with to start with. You can always increase the difficulty later by adding more habits or adding a higher frequency of habits. Incorporating it a little bit into your life is still going to improve it massively than not doing it at all. but if you overwhelm yourself, then you're not going to do it anyway. So just remember that. That's the whole point of this challenge. All right, so step 2, action. Let's choose the habits that are in your plan. I'll just quickly go over that again. So in move, you're going to do 3 build, 2 blitz, 1 bend. Choose what suits you best in your lifestyle. Munch. Make sure you know your intake and you're tracking your intake either on MyFitnessPal, would highly recommend MyFitnessPal, or a food diary. Make sure you're eating your 80% whole foods and drinking your 2 liters of water. And how many times a week are you going to meal prep that suits you? So whether that's once a week, twice a week, or you're someone who cooks every day, just make sure you're prepping your food so you're ready. And then mind, what are you going to do for your mind habits? What can you commit to? And how many times a week can you commit to? So start where you are at. And then you'll have a nice, clear plan that you can stick to for the first 4 weeks. So that's the first half of our little cycle. Make sure you're choosing a goal, setting up your plan. This is the theory. Now you need to actually get into some sticky stuff. So scheduling your plan is step 3. Now, it's really important to understand what gets scheduled gets done. If you don't put it in your diary, don't put it in your week, it's not going to happen. So make sure that you have either a physical diary or a digital diary like Google Calendar or something like that to make sure that you've put in your workouts, your habits, when you're going to do them, to make sure that they are just as important as work, appointments, and social events. That's when you know you're going to achieve amazing results because you're prioritizing your habits. Definitely don't rely on your memory. Your memory is not reliable when it comes to these things, especially when it's a new habit because you haven't done it before or it's not wired into your brain. Write it down and it will be scheduled. This organization is going to be a key part of the challenge so that you can keep on track of it, so that the structure keeps you nice and solid towards your goals. So step 3 action is scheduling your habits of your plan. Chuck it in your diary. And lastly, let's take action. None of this matters unless you actually take action. So once it's scheduled, do the habits when you say you do them and track them. So the important part of tracking your workouts, your habits, and your data is so that you can see the progress over time, and it can be great to look back on in your reflection to know what you've actually done. So step 4 is taking action on your habits, like I just said. Cool, so let's get started. So if you've been doing your plan as you go along, that's great. Otherwise, you can stop this video and focus on those steps in your own time. Number 1, make sure you choose your goal. Number 2, create your plan that you can stick to. 3, chuck it in your diary and schedule it, and then start taking action this week. If you need any help, just message me. I can assist you with any step of the journey. So just a little bit of an overview about the actual challenge. So if you've read the introductory content, you'll have a bit of awareness already. But we're starting off with understanding the habits and then goal setting. We're going to follow that structured system every week for the 4 weeks. So making sure that you're setting your plan and following through on your actual actions, because otherwise nothing's going to happen. And then at the 4-week mark, we're going to do that big reflection to see what you're currently at, what progress you've made, how you're feeling. And then we'll do another goal set to reset your plan or to make a new one. Depends on where you're at. Again, if you need any help, just ask me, and we're going to have an awesome time on the Powherful 8-week challenge.